Day 2 of the Phillip Island tyre test, and Jorge Lorenzo continued to top the timesheets. Well, what a difference a few days makes. He wasn't happy at all with the tyres last week in Sepang. Here in Phillip Island, though, he's yet to be headed and reduced the quickest time today to 1:29.133. There was a switch around in the programme. Those who'd been testing tyre construction yesterday now switched to compound and vice versa. Danny Pedrosa on the leading Honda, and in fact the only Repsol Honda bike here, with Marc Marquez continuing to recover back home in Spain, went second, 2.5 tenths down on Lorenzo. All of this testing follows last year's Australian Grand Prix, when the new track surface and higher average speeds than expected caught out Bridgestone, and the race had to take place with pit stops in the middle of it, as the tyres could only last for 10 laps. Andrea Dovizioso then the first of the Ducatis, third position this afternoon, ahead of Valentino Rossi, fourth on the second of the Yamahas. And it was Lorenzo in particular who was running a different fairing today, smaller in size but with a much larger air intake in a bid to cope with the typically breezy conditions here. Cal Crutchlow, the last of the Premier Class runners, completed the top 5, but he was the only man unable to improve his quickest time from the day before. As for the weather, though, it was absolutely perfect. Morning fog quickly burned off, and it was typically blue skies on a perfect summer day in southern Australia. The local wildlife did intervene in typical Phillip Island fashion. A small flock of geese actually made its way onto the racetrack later on in the day. For now, though, it wasn't stopping Tito Rabat, and he was on blistering form. 101 laps, 4 tenths quicker than the Moto2 pole position time of Pol Espargaro from last season. And he was one of the few riders to get in a race distance. The MotoGP runners, in the meantime, well, they didn't get in race distances today, despite the threat of rain for tomorrow. They got in some 14-lap runs, and they'll be going for those race runs tomorrow. This is Mika Kallio, second of the Moto2 runners, but still suffering pain with his wrist after a high side at Siberia yesterday. Nico Tirol there, the first of the Aspar runners. And he did have a crash today down at the MG hairpin, but walked away unaided. Jordi Torres, final of the runners, the 9th of the runners and the 4th in Moto2, completed the field this afternoon, and they'll be looking to get underway again for the 3rd and final day on Wednesday from 9:30 AM local time.